And so be aware that your name will be displayed in the list of participants and in the chat window. And don't hesitate also to use the chat to ask any technical questions you may have. So let's go to the next slide. And this is our agenda for today. So we are starting now with an introduction on the initiative as such. Probably many of you know it already, but some elements are probably good as a reminder. Then you will have more detailed information on the topics of the call itself. Formal application requirements, timelines, and also an information on the knowledge community of the JPP SES. Then there will be 20-minute time for Q&A. So on this also don't hesitate to use the chat to ask your questions so that we can have a record on it and follow it. And then we will have several pitches, first from currently funded EnerDigit projects. So everybody can see what these projects are doing and what examples of already going on activities and results. But then also pitches by our digital platform providers, and after a short coffee break, also pitches by our living labs and test beds. And then from 3 onwards, there will be a couple of sessions with an opportunity for you to matchmake and exchange contact in order to form projects. So we can go on with the presentation of the JPP SES initiative, and I will pass over to Katharina, if that's okay for you. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, hi, thank you everyone. Sorry for the technical hiccup in the beginning. My name is Katharina Reffel from the JPP SES, and I'm just giving you a very short introduction to what we're actually doing. Yeah, so our goal of the joint programming platform Smart Energy Systems is to organize the learning in order to enable right technologies, market designs, and customer adoption so that we can achieve the smart energy system vision and goals across all over Europe. Right now, we have more than 30 funding partners from over 25 European countries and regions. And our research projects are also developing close to market solutions with a technology readiness level of up to 7. And these also involve companies, SMEs, research organizations, as well as public organizations. Next slide, please. And every year we are launching calls like this year again. We started in 2015, and every year we have a different thematic focus. This year's focus is on the digital transformation of the energy system, and this is why we are here today to give you some more information on this call. This will be the last call in the framework of JPP SES. In the upcoming years, we are going to be we're going to launch calls in the framework of the SET partnership, like we did also last year. The Integrated Regional Energy Systems call was also in this framework, and there's also going to be another call which will be launched in September. But today we are focusing on this EnerDigit call, which is marked in green here.
Thank you. So this call is a short and fast call. In many ways, you are allowed to make quite short applications. But what is it about? This is, let's go to the next slide. The call is, next slide, please. Yeah, thank you. The call is in many ways a repeat of the first call in 2020. This is about the digital transformation of smart energy systems. The keyword is transformation, as opposed to replacement of old with new. This is a transformation into a smarter content and a smarter use of data to enhance the energy systems that we already know and use. We hope that we will see a lot of proposals that are answering key challenges, key opportunities, because we are going more and more digital, more and more smart, and use more data in more innovative ways. It is very important to have social sustainability as part of the design or the background thinking of the project, or in the foreground of the knowledge you want to create in your project, because this is everybody's life that these types of new technologies will touch. So it has to have consideration for social sustainability. Will this actually work with consumers? Will consumers understand? Will it be transparent? Will they be happier? Or will they allow a wider use of data if they don't trust the system? Probably not. How do we create trust? There are many issues related to social sustainability that you could benefit from considering in your project design. Energy, ICT infrastructure, energy marketplaces, business models, communication, those are obvious. That's how you run a business. And in the end, that's how our energy systems will work together, from having the right data, the right functionality to obviously the system operators would like the system to not be sub-optimized, that some solution looks good, but it has maybe an internal loop that makes it hard for the system to function properly, or it will create bottlenecks because something is not properly considered. All of these things are interesting things to solve in a project. That whenever you have a new solution, you should also make sure it doesn't create new problems. Next slide, please. So, on top of the call text, about the same wide call text as in 2020, digital transformation of the smart energy systems, we also encourage short, impactful projects. You don't have to be short. You're allowed, in some cases, to have a normal 3-year project if that is your required time for the work you want to do. But if your project is actually well done in 6 months, 12 months, there is no reason to make it into a 3-year project. We are all aware of a hard deadline, 2030, 2045, even before. We need to have transformed the European energy system to a zero CO2 emission system. So we need also solutions to be applicable on a much shorter timescale. We need to create value from the new solutions so that consumers and businesses can participate in reaching the EU clean energy goals. This is a really big issue. So it would be great for projects to come out with solutions or point in the direction of solutions faster than normally seen in projects. So it's also an opportunity for developers of products and services to test and demonstrate, for instance, using many of the already existing living labs that are already, many countries have living labs with different types of technologies available or different types of people involved in the living lab setup or facilities available. Find one, match up with a test facility that can see how your technical solution will actually work in a demonstration setup. And let's see if that wouldn't be a good project. It's possible in a shorter time scale or in a limited budget to do this type of demonstration loop development if you already know some of your partners. Or it could be that you have an idea for something that will take more time. Maybe you want to prepare a large application later. This could be the opportunity to get started on your idea and get some input data created to test the viability of a great idea in a project sponsored here, and then you might be able to go on for a larger full-scale project in another funding setup like the CETP. That's also a possibility that you can build on existing networks or create new networks for future larger projects. You can use this call as when we get to the timeline. This is the shortest possible time from application from call launch today until the first contract with a granted project before Christmas. That's our ambition. Next slide, please. So you might have a technology or a service concept at the core of your idea. Then you should emphasize demonstration or next steps towards implementation. How will that technology or service work? What kind of framework does it need? How will it actually work? What kind of effects will it have on the system, because everything is integrated? We are doing digital transformation. How will real life settings look like? What kind of issues should be solved in the design of your solution so that it will actually work as intended when end users who are not technical, maybe, who are maybe be small businesses, they may be citizens. How will they be able to use your product or service? That would be a good example of a project. And what kind of engagement would they have? Next slide, please. Maybe your project is a new way of looking at flexibility of the grid. Maybe you have a new way of collecting data and applying the data to increase flexibility of the grid, which is obviously something that most grids would like, with increasing shares of renewable or full shares going towards 100% of renewable technology production into the grid. Anything that improves demand-side management, anything that improves storage, predictability, flexibility. There are many ways of solving that. There are technological ways, there are data-driven ways, and there are also data predictability ways. Maybe you have such an idea. We would really like to see such an application. You should make sure that you can, in your project, will be able to say, is this a green solution? Can we follow the green? Or is it transparent what it is your solution does? You should also be able to answer, what would be the next stage? How would we get from this great solution, this great project idea, and into implementation? What would be the next steps? That you should well advise to put that into your application, what you think the next stage should be, and how you're going to prepare for that. Next slide, please. Basic project requirements. You have to be a minimum of 2 partners from different participating countries. It doesn't matter which country that partners come from, as long as they are in the funding consortium behind the call. Also, there's a requirement in your application to identify what are the challenges for bringing our solution further into existence. Who are the need owners who would need our solution when we have it developed? How will we scale up? How will we do replication within the EU-wide and EUS-wide connected grid in the markets of the European energy markets? How will we do that? This is something you have to enter in your application. Obviously, we cannot fund something that cannot be replicated, but there might be a replication potential that is beyond being part of the grid. Always check for national requirements. The most common national requirement is that you have to submit the application to the funding agent also to check for national requirements. You can read on the call text page, but you could also strongly recommend it to contact the national contact point in the funding agency supporting the call, because you need to understand that you are meeting the national requirements. That would be a shame to miss something obvious that you could have just taken into account because you didn't call. Really, really call. Next slide, please. Call timeline. Total available budget is, I think this is maybe not the correct number. I think it's, there are 2 countries who are in the call, funding agents who are not fully confirmed at the time. And I think this number should maybe be checked. But in the vicinity of 5 million euros available. And as we expect several projects to be short, less than a year and a half, it means that more projects can be funded within shorter project times. Call opening tomorrow. The application portal will open later tomorrow. If you attempt to go to the application portal today, it will say, sorry, this call has closed. But that's not true. It's just because that's the text available when the call is not open. It will open tomorrow afternoon. The link here in this slide is where you will find the homepage of the ERANET Smart Energy Systems, and the call text will be available with all the details about national requirements. And it will also link you back to the application portal. Next slide, please. We really recommend you to use this advisory period, the period where you develop your project and your consortium, opening until the call deadline is in September. Really, really recommend that. Submission deadline is the 12th of September at 2 o'clock European summertime, Central European summertime. And it's an electronic submission platform, so it will close at the time. You can always submit if you answered all the minimum requirements for the application. You can always submit and then log in. You can stay and you can edit on top of the already submitted proposal. You don't have to. It doesn't close when you submit. You can strongly recommend that you submit when you answered all the minimum requirement information, so that you know you are in the system and that you can edit and upload edited content for, let's say, for CVs for a partner that you need to fix with some proper information. You can upload a blank page, and then you can submit and resubmit on top of that until the deadline runs out. It makes it a lot easier to make sure you don't forget something or that your system doesn't crash at the end. Following the deadline, we have a national and regional eligibility check to check for the hard requirements. Are the 2 partners from 2 different countries? Are the partners in the right regions, etc.? Did we answer the requirements for a budget section on participation in knowledge community activities, which is described in the call text? Those basic checks will be checked first, and then each national eligibility check will be performed in larger detail. But at the same time, we will enter into the evaluation period. We have as a group of external experts in the field who will evaluate the proposals, similar to the way EU proposals are evaluated. The same type of, is it scientific quality? Is there good progress beyond the state of the art? How well is the project described? Does it make sense? Is it meeting the objectives of the call? We will look at, is the impact what we are looking for in the call? Is it explained well? It's hard to say. If you're doing something very innovative and you don't think anybody else is doing the same thing, who are we competing against for impact? Well, you have to explain your project the way you see the future for this project, for this technology or this service you're developing. So explain to the best ability how you would like your idea to have impact, short-term impact, long-term impact. Explain it. If you have measurable impact or measurable progress, please put that in. That definitely helps the evaluation. And of course, we will evaluate how is the logic between what you want to do and the time you assigned for it, the budget you assigned for it, the competences of the partners you assigned for solving that task. Does that make sense? Do you have a proper idea of where the risks are? All of these things are also described in the call text, but they are the usual requirements similar to other EU-type projects, cooperation projects. The selection period, there will be a ranking at the end of October, and recommendation for funding will follow the ranking until the budget is used. End of November will be a funding decision feedback to all applicants. And as soon as possible, we hope to start the first projects already in December, but definitely no later starting date than the end of March 2024. And since the project cannot be more than 3 years, the end date of any project must be before the end of March 2027. You choose your end date anywhere in between those two dates. Next slide, please. You must submit electronically. The electronic submission system is called Insights, and it's administered by Nordforsk and Nordic Energy Research. This is the link. If you have a feedback or if you send an email about a question for the portal, if something is unclear for you, how do I answer this question? The reply mail will be from nordforsk.org. Don't be confused about that. It will be me or one of my colleagues who will answer your questions for the technical side of the application. Next slide, please. Oh, there's a new slide. I think we already maybe had this slide already. I think we already had this slide. I think it's just a repeat. Funding agencies. You have Germany, PCJ, Austria, FFG, Czech Republic, TACR, UK, Scotland, the Scottish Energy Agency, and TÜBİTAK, which is the Turkish energy agency, who are the confirmed funding agencies. We're waiting for full approval of funding from the Romanian agency and the Swedish agency, and they cannot be confirmed at this time due to internal technical processes. We will strongly recommend you that you come back and check if your country is covered, so that you could be a partner in a project. Other partners may join, but you have to secure your own funding outside of these if you're from a country outside of these funding partners. I think that was the last slide for me. Yes, thank you. I will look in the chat now and answer in the chat if there are more questions during the rest of the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Lise. Then I will just proceed quickly with the knowledge community and our JPP SES partner network. So what is our knowledge community? So we have 3 elements within our knowledge community. One is the projects do annual reporting and also receive a formative evaluation. And after that, these projects come together in peer-to-peer feedback sessions. So projects give feedback to others in order to learn from each other and also to foster this cross-project knowledge exchange. This is also done in our thematic working groups. So besides these feedback sessions, we are focusing on different thematic areas. And right now we have 5 thematic working groups. One is the system architecture and interoperability part. We have a working group focusing on regional matters, consumer involvement, storage, regulatory and market development. And we're meeting on a half-a-year basis in order to exchange on these topics. And then there is also cooperation opportunities with experts and among experts and project partners via events, and also on our website you can find some experts for your running or applying project, which I'm going to introduce soon. But first, this is our knowledge sharing platform. It's called Expera. Here we have quite a high number of members. They include our projects, but also further projects. So you don't need to be a funded JPP SES project. You can also register on Expera and get exchange with other experts. So we also have transnational key projects, also further international research and development projects, practitioners coming from different fields, and also agenda setters and policymakers. Yes, here is another link to join Expera. Maybe Santiago, you can post the link to Expera here on the chat. And yes, so I was talking about these experts beforehand with whom projects running and also applying projects can get in contact. You can find them on our website under partners. And here we have living labs and test beds. So you can test your research in different living labs and test beds. Or we also have digital platform providers who can offer their ICT solution for you, so that you do not need to reinvent the wheel, let's say, especially as the projects won't run for such a long time. It's always good to build on what's out there already. And then we also have associated partners which help to identify specific need owners for your research. And they are all listed on our website. And later on, we are also going to have some pictures from the digital platform providers and living labs and testbeds, as well as 2 further projects from the Joint Call 2020, focusing also on EnerDigit, who will then present you some insights of their work and some cooperation opportunities. So here in a nutshell, you have some links. You will also receive the slides later on. So you can have a look on our website, and you can also register for our newsletter to receive the latest information. Then there's also this knowledge sharing platform, Expera, what I was talking about beforehand. You can also follow us on LinkedIn. And you can also have a look on our events site on our website for upcoming events. Yes, so these are our contact details. You can reach me, for instance, via the office office@smart.energysystems.eu. You can reach Lisa and Frederick at Call Management, and also me and my colleagues under Knowledge Community when it refers to Expera, a knowledge sharing platform, or also your interest in working groups, for instance. And the whole initiative is coordinated by the Austrian Federal Ministry for Climate Action. Yes, now we come to the Q&A session. Now it's your turn. So if you have any questions regarding the EnerDigit call or regarding our knowledge community, you can, you're welcome to either just turn on your video and ask your questions, or post them in the chat. So it's up to you. Don't be shy. So right now, I don't see any raised hand.
There's a question here.
Yes. have one question in the chat.
Gerald Franz.
Two, actually.
Might more countries be added? That would be a very late addition. I think it's technically possible, but we shouldn't expect it. How many countries from Bartek Arendaski? How many countries should build a consortium of one project? Since there's a minimum of 2 countries, I don't understand the question. Yeah, Fredrik answered, there should be a minimum of 2 countries, and that makes a minimum of 2 partners, 1 from each country. That's the minimum project.
Maybe I can add a general remark here, Lisa, and to that question.
Yeah, go ahead, Fredrik.
Yeah. So some of you who might be experienced with larger calls in terms of that there are many more funding partners, and also those that are EU co-funded, where the Commission also funds a part of the project. Since this is a smaller call with less partners and no EU co-funding, it also means that there is some more flexibility. We do expect more projects that might be bilateral, as was mentioned here in chat. 2 countries is the only minimum criterion, or 2 different. It can also be a region. It's a region we collaborate to. But this doesn't exclude, as also Lisa mentioned, that you can add other partners if they are self-financed. And for any of these different alternatives you're trying, we always say also be careful to ask the funding agencies for which you will apply to check with them if you have anything that you are not sure about, because that is always important for your proposal to be successful. Lisa, if you want to, I can go on, or there are some more questions. So after
I don't see the questions.
Yeah. So one was, must the consortium consider industrial partners? In general, this is for the outcome, it is expected. I mean, one thing is for the project to be evaluated good in the international evaluation process, but then additionally, many of the funding partners have specific requirements on how you relate to industrial partners. This you should monitor and check it. I'm not sure right now if there are some partners that are okay with only academic partners, but I would say it's a general thing to think of, that you include industrial partner or other type of commercial or need owner partners. But in the international context, it's not outspoken as a criteria that you must have an industrial partner. But I would expect, if you look on the national requirements, that this still, and also for the project to be competitive, that you have non-research partners. That's important. Then there
especially for a higher TRL, it would be unexpected if there isn't an industrial partner.
Yeah. Very good. And also there was a question, where do I find the full call text? I think you mentioned a little bit in the beginning, Katharina, but so just to confirm, this will be published on the webpage, the homepage. Can you confirm that, Katharina? There is on the JPP SES webpage. You can always look on the different focus areas and the topics, and in the EnerDigit focus, there is a call 2023. You can find it through different ways, but there, if you go in on the tab that says call 2023, and you also have now a link here in the chat, there you will find the full call text published.
There's a question, can large companies also participate? That would again be well advised to look for the national requirements, what kind of funding is available for large companies, but the short answer would be yes. The question will be what kind of level of funding may they be eligible for in that national requirement. So Normally that would follow EU state aid rules for large companies, but you have to check. There were lots of information in your slides, like web addresses to follow. Are your presentation available somewhere? Katarina, the answer was given earlier.
Yes, so we will provide you with the slides afterwards.
What is the expected budget volume for each project? In the call text, there are some guidance about, for instance, the budget, recommended budget for the knowledge community participation with some figures. But other than that, it's not on. It's quite common that a 3-year project is a 2 million euro project. This is not unusual average. So I don't think you can say that if it's then a 1-year project, it's 1/3 of 2 million euros. I don't think you can say it like that. But I would assume that a project anywhere from 500,000 to 3 million euros would be, depending on what the demonstration effort is and what it will cost. I would expect most of the applications to be below 2 million euros in full budget, including in-kind contributions, for sure. Closer to 1 million if they're shorter projects, but this is, you have to put your budget, you have to argue your budget in your application.
And maybe I can add also what has been discussed between the funding partners when setting up this call, and I think this can be good for all the applicants to think about, is that since these are shorter projects, obviously we cannot expect the same amount of research and innovation content as you can in a longer project. But since we want to look on short, impactful projects, the size of the project here might not be the critical part. If you can find a good place where you can create impact, it can also be a very small project. And I think here you should think of also the network, both where you can find partners, but also some of where you will hear later on here in these presentations on the living labs or other existing projects, as Lise also was mentioning earlier, that if you build on some things that is existing and you add new features. Another thing that is good to think about is that usually these ERANET calls, they have one difficult thing with the coordination between the funding partners is that it takes time. It does so, of course, in this call also, but it will be much shorter from when you apply until when you will start your project. So from now until when the first project starts, it's more around 6 months than usually 1 year. So for that, we also, or even 1.5 years sometimes. So from that point of view, we also expect that you can find something that you, with the timing right now, can facilitate and create impact on. So keep that in mind. And from that point of view, the size of the project is not the critical part, but how good idea and how you can create impact in this time. That's what we are interested in.
There's a question here. Does Denmark and Sweden participate in this call? Denmark does not. Denmark already allocated funds for the CTP call, which is later in the year, with a longer lead time until contract, but also a different focus.
Yeah, and I can reply for Sweden, also representing the Swedish Energy Agency here. At the moment, as was mentioned in the beginning, we cannot confirm the participation. I'm sorry that this, of course, creates a bit of uncertainty, but we are working on it, and you should keep an eye both on the ERANET webpage, but also on the Swedish Energy Agency webpage, and we will clarify this in short time. You're also welcome to contact me directly if you have questions also for the planning.
The same goes for the next question. When I could find out if Romania will participate, it's the same answer as Fredrik just gave for Sweden. This will be clarified as soon as possible, and will be published the result on the webpage for ERANET, but also on the Romanian Energy Agency's own webpage, I assume. What is the TRL of calls? Not at beyond 7. And it would be unexpected to be below 3 or even below 3 or 4 to the starting TRL, but the final TRL cannot go beyond 7. Will there be aggressive pre-selection by funding agencies per country, i.e. by Germany? I'm not sure I fully understand the question, but no, all proposals will be evaluated by experts if they pass the immediate eligibility check, the obvious eligibility check criteria. If they are fulfilled, the proposal will go on for evaluation, and then it will be ranked, and that ranking might lead to a funding. There is not a pre-selection. You're not required to use the advisory period, but you should definitely contact your national agency to make sure you don't miss a point for eligibility. Switzerland.
Yeah, maybe I just can add on the question before also here. One, of course, for those of you that are familiar with earlier ERANETs, the process is similar in the way that it's an ERANET process where we are coordinating different funding instruments, and there are always different criteria for eligibility in the different countries. But a difference here from most of the calls you might be familiar with is since we are doing a one-step process, and since we are not involving any co-fund from the Commission, we will be left with a more straightforward discussion in the point of view in the end, where we have the evaluation results from the evaluators, and we cannot expect any second step after that. So that means that the dialogue you have with your funding partners until submitting the final proposal, this is the crucial. So the pre-selection, there will basically not be room for that. So it's more about that you need to be fundable and make sure that you have the contact with your national funding partner. And then having that said, also we have some more flexibility. I don't want to encourage that, but just to say there is some more flexibility if there is problem with a single partner in the consortia, or there might be a need to do some minor adjustments. And this is a proposal that in other ways are very complete. When we have the EC co-funding, we are a little bit more limited to that. We cannot make any changes in relation to the applications as it was sent in. Here, as long as all the funding partners agree, and as long as we can treat all of the applicants in the same way, we have some more flexibility to that.
There's a question, what about Switzerland's participation? Well, very welcome to participate. You would have to be self-funded or financed by other means than inside the consortium. Also, a Swiss participation or participation from countries not in the funding scheme means that the participation will not count towards the minimum 2 countries transnational requirement. There has to be 2 countries from within the funding countries, but you are definitely welcome as a third country. Does the technology to be developed, must it be first of a kind, or improvements over existing technology is also acceptable? Definitely improvements are acceptable. This is an innovation call, which is the definition of innovation, that you improve something, but you are welcome to break the mold and make something new. But you're also welcome to make an innovation that makes something much more accessible, for instance, or much easier to explain to customers. That would be great. You're welcome to do that.
Yeah, and I would add, I mean, we expect that a lot of the ideas will be built on existing technologies rather than first of a kind. Of course, we are super curious and interested to see first of a kind, but usually it takes longer time to get to the market and get impact. But rather than the technology, what is interesting is if you have a first of a kind application of technology, or specifically now with all the technologies becoming mature with the interoperability, with the possibilities of different aspects of artificial intelligence, etc. There is a lot of things that you can do as a first of a kind trial. And this is also good, I think, for everyone to keep in mind. At the same time as we're looking on the creation of new knowledge and competence, when it comes to the innovation part, the whole funding scheme that we as partners are using are based on that what we fund, besides the pure research activities, is the ability for companies to take risks that you would normally not be able to do in the market setting. That's the whole base for also the funding rules. So if you think of it in a way that we expect innovation that wouldn't happen without that support, but sometimes with just a little support, you can take that little extra risk and try that thing that can be very impactful. And this is one thing that we're expecting in the projects that you apply with.
One thing to add here, if you have further questions for the call, you can email me. I will put my email in the chat right now. And this type of questions, if they have a general nature, they will be added to the call text in the portal, application portal, as a Q&A list of most commonly asked questions. And I want to say again that if you go follow the link today or early tomorrow for the application portal, it will say this call is now closed, which is not true. It will open tomorrow. But it doesn't have an off button. It only has a over or not done yet button. That's how the system works. It will open.
Okay, thank you for answering all these questions. I just saw one last question I need to scroll a little bit. It was regarding the living labs and how far they can be edited on the website. So if you see your living lab needs an update, please write us to knowledge_community@eranet smartenergysystems.eu, and we will update it, of course. So thank you for all these interesting and insightful questions and answers. And now we continue with our pitches. So now we're going to start with some interesting inputs by our partners, and we're going to start with 2 EnerDigit projects from the Joint Call 2020. I would like to ask Emil to turn on your video and present your pitch. You have 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Am I audible to everyone? I hope so. First of all,
Yes.
thank you very much for the opportunity to pitch our little EnerDigit 2020 project named BioLens. It is, of course, a digital project within the domain of biomethane, data security, validity, and value chain optimization. My name is Emil, and I work for a Danish company called Fremsyn ApS, who is a consultancy house and development company that works with documentation, emission calculations, and all documentation related to the biomethane industry. So, without further ado, please, next slide. The whole idea for the BioLens project actually germinated from, and one of you already said it, trust, because biomethane has become a commodity that is highly in demand, even more so after last year's tragic event in Ukraine and the need to get rid of Russian gas, but also in order to ensure that the emission reduction that is claimed by the utilization of biomethane is actually a valid number, you might say. So it all sprung from our knowledge about how emission is calculated, how reductions are calculated, and what the day-to-day life on a biomethane plant actually looks like. So, as with many other sectors, Excel has been the predominantly used IT tool for basically everything. And Excel is a wonderful tool, but it does have some limitations, and that started the thought process in our end that we wanted to lift all of these recurring processes out of Excel because in Excel you can manipulate, you can basically make the numbers tell the story that you want it to. So we started to think about how we could do this and how we were supposed to fund it and basically what were the limitations of that idea. And at that same time, the EnerDigit 2020 call opened, and we were like, that makes perfectly sense because we have businesses in Denmark and we have Swedish partners as well, which we could start to develop the platform that is now Biolens, and it is in development and it's entering the last testing phase. We have a project deadline on the 31st of October, so it's coming up very soon. But this call allowed us to basically have the development in one end and the testing in the other, basically. So we wanted to use all of these data points that are already being collected by the biomethane plants, because all the calculations are being done. It's being done in Excel, and all the data is being transferred using Excel. So we have basically built a platform that will be usable for biomethane plants in one end to log all the biomasses that are being used in the production, and through that automatically generate the mass balances and the proof of sustainability, as this the standard document is called, for that is used by end user to document that the energy that they purchase is in fact green, and where it comes from and what biomasses this energy is made of. So we wanted to do a user-friendly interface that would not only ensure that all of these documentations were done automatically and with ease, but also increased the data security and the validity, because as soon as data has entered Biolens and a biomethane plant operator has logged the day and logged a month, it cannot be changed. So this means that validity is highly increased using the Biolens platform. Also, as I'm sure that many of you also acknowledge, that the amount of data that is being generated in society today and in basically all production plants or wherever we go is enormous. So we wanted to limit the amount of data to the absolute minimum in order to keep complexity at the lowest possible level. So we have worked very closely with one biomethane plant and are now entering the final phase. And I think that the next slide, please. What we can
Emil,
offer...
please come to the end as we are running out of time. Thank you.
I know. Extensive experience in proposal writing, so we are happy to participate in that part. We have competences within sustainability, calculations, life cycle assessment, sustainable development, but of course our primary competence lie within the biomethane and transport and a little bit of electricity. Yeah, I think that pretty much rounds it up. Maybe just a last comment. We are planning on doing a Biolens 2.0 that will be a lot more on the forecasting of biomethane production, because we already have all the data. So if we have any IT companies that are looking for interesting projects, we are happy to hear from you. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And as we said in the beginning, there will also be the chance in smaller groups to exchange among each other as well. Okay, then we come to the next project, which is Diego, and which will be presented by Marcel Hollmann. Hi.
Hi. All right, thank you very much for the invitation. I want to represent Diego. Diego is acronym and stands for Digital Energy Paths for Planning and Operation of Sustainable Grid Products and Society. My name is Marcel Hollmann, and I'm a researcher at the University of Applied Science at Magdeburg. Next slide, please. This project is well balanced by the participants or by the partners. This project consists 10 partners from 4 different nations, from Israel, from Poland, Austria, and Germany as well. And every of these partners have a different scope. For example, this Polish partners wants to develop a software component for planning multi-energy grid. And we in Germany want to develop optimization algorithm for prediction method of real-time energy. Our Austrian partners want to develop ICT architecture for supporting this thermic data exchange, and the Israeli partner wants to develop a digital tool for enhancing the design of photovoltaic cells. This project is very well balanced because we have partners from small industry, we have partners from enterprises, from public universities, and from private research institutes as well. Next slide, please. When we're considering the project schedule we've seen, we are close to half-time, with 50% of project is taken. And actually, our 5 work packages are running, and we're quite close to finish the work package 1, which is requirement analysis of actual status recording. Please, next slide, please. This project consists 5 different demonstrators for each nation or each country. Germany has 2. Israel has the focus to develop some nanoflights to improve the production from PV cells. One demonstrator, the first demonstrator from Germany, is here at my University of Applied Science. We have the focus to develop some artificial algorithm to improve the performance and operation from electrical energy storage. The second one, it's close to the city in the industry park, so-called Brumby, and they have the focus to develop a virtual reality tool to help planner from industry park for located industry and renewable energy source. Our partners from Poland has the scope to develop an additional software tool, actually, which based on an existing software tool. It's called EMAX, to interconnecting renewable energy source and battery storage in industrial environment. This Austrian partner and the demonstrator expecting this ICT architecture in the so-called energy communities by interconnecting private households and power plants. Next slide, please. Here I want to show a concept which is a part of this project, because we have one of the challenges by interconnecting data sets from each partner and each nation. So we developed in our consortium this ICT and data exchange concept with so-called protocol MQTT client, which interconnecting on the left side these feed devices from the lower field and ICT and network level in the middle field. These devices will be interconnected by agent, which are running on Raspberry Pi, actually, which could also be another one-layer PC, and share all these data sets, these live values in databases and MQTT broker. Next slide, please. What we can offer for a new JC 2023 project. We can share, of course, experience and knowledge about digital tools for modeling of new solar cell types, or digital tools for information exchange in microgrids. Or we can share, of course, experience with digital planning tools like virtual reality, not just for industry parks. Next slide, please. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me, and I hope I can answer this question. Thank you very much.
Thank you too, Marcel. And then I would like to continue with the pitches of our digital platform providers. So I kindly ask Fatuma Ali to turn on her video and present Grid Singularity. Hi.
Hi, thank you very much for the invitation. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we do.
Okay, thank you. Yes, so my name is Fatuma Ali. I'm the lead product engineer at Grid Singularity, and I would like to give you a short presentation of our company and what we can offer. Next slide, please. Yes, so Grid Singularity is a Berlin-based open source technology provider that provides digital tools to simulate and operate local energy markets. For example, peer-to-peer trading and also community trading. We are known for co-founding the Energy Web Foundation, which is the largest ecosystem of companies using open source decentralized technologies to accelerate energy transition. So what we do is bring together prosumers, consumers, and producers organized in communities with the support of local suppliers and network operators to implement local energy markets. Just a bit of emphasis on what we mean by simulations and operations, because these are two different things. For simulations, we mean, using historical or live data or even forecast energy data forecasts to run simulations to see the impact of local energy markets. And for operation, we have actual implementations in living labs and energy communities in some pilot sites. Next slide, please. Yes, so this diagram more or less represents our approach, which is the bottom-up market approach. And here, energy assets, which are represented by digital agents, as you can see in green, place bids and offers in the market. These bids and offers have prices attributed to them, and also they have the preferred trading partner attribute or energy source attribute. And based on these preferences, they can be cleared in the local energy market. So in essence, we have two interfaces on top of our code base, which I'll talk about in a second. We have a web-based simulation tool known as the Grid Singularity Exchange, and we have an energy community management tool known as the social community managers. Next slide, please. So this is our ecosystem and solutions that we provide and the interfaces. For all the solutions that we provide, the interfaces are the Grid Singularity Exchange, which is the open source interface with under GPL version 3 backend code. And the interfaces that I mentioned, the social community manager and the exchange itself, those are two separate, and we have the code base. The interface for the Grid Singularity Exchange is found under gridsingularity.com/singularity map. And the other provisions that we have are the the software development kits, that's the GSY ESDK. You can find all this information on our GitHub. Which include the grid operator API for grid management purposes and the asset APIs, which can be used to configure the attributes and the pricing within the communities or the local energy markets. For the business applications, you have the management tools for energy communities. This is customized per country, per language available, and also per regulation. Of course, not the local energy communities are not allowed for operations in all countries, and this is regulation specific, and this adheres to that. And we have the simulation tool, the web-based one, and test networks of energy marketplaces for research and innovation. And here we have implemented a couple of Horizon 2020 projects, which are already going on. These are longer research projects, as mentioned before. For high-level services, we do the data integration and can also...
Dear Fatuma, sorry to interrupt you as we are running out of time. Maybe you could just quickly summarize the slide.
Yes,
as I said before, we're going to share also the slides with all of you, and then everybody can have a look into the details. Sorry for the interruption.
I was aware I had 30 seconds. We enable physical and support software. So we do IoT, energy asset integration, and third-party integration for smart trading strategies, complementary services using machine learning and all of that. So it's more or less a wholesome product for or solution for the implementation of local energy markets and also sector coupling for research and innovation. Yeah, thank you everyone for listening. If you would like to contact us, you can write to contact@britsingularity.com, and we are, of course, available for any collaboration purposes. Thank you.
Thank you too, Fatuma. Great, thank you. Then we're going to one last digital platform provider. Herefore, I'm just to share the slides again. And we have Zoltan See from EnerDigit Innovation. So the floor is yours. Hi.
Hello, my name is Zoltan See from Hungary. Thank you very much for the invitation. So it looks like that you managed to solve the presentation issue. Okay, thank you very much.
No problem.
So everyone, just to inform, I wasn't able to send due to the file size the presentation. So Katarina managed to solve this problem. Okay, so please next slide, please. Okay, so EnerDigit is an Austrian-Hungarian company having presence in Hungary and Slovakia. We are managing somewhere around 150 energy management related projects. So please, next slide, please. As you can see, basically now we are focusing on Austria, Slovakia, Hungary, and we are rapidly growing. We have several distributors, well-known names, Vodafone, T-Systems, and so on. We have mainly targeting, let's say, the market, and we have more than 125, 6, 7 bigger energy consumers, from automotive partial producers, plastic, packaging, industry, spas, office buildings, and so on, food, feed producer companies. Next slide, please. And what we are offering. So the main intention of EnerDigit solution is that let's launch, let's say, on the market an affordable price level, comprehensive energy management solution, which covers all aspects, namely the metering and the platform itself. So EnerDigit has the own intellectual property right of its meter. The meter is a certified meter. Its accuracy rate is below than 1%. And this meter is, let's say, an industrial scaled power quality analyzer. So real time, very detailed way, not 15 minutes averages, 1 minute averages, lots of parameters, of course, I won't list it. And sinus curve peaks for a certain minute time frame. Every kind of energy related information can be seen real time. Second main pillar of our platform and meter capabilities, uniquely low voltage anomalies. Our meters are capable to detect and sending those kind of warning messages to our partners. So breaching from the DSO point of view or locally in the electrical infrastructure, breaching the DSO specified general control conditions related to the low voltage. If there is any anomaly, our meters, our systems informing the partners, including all phase outages as well. Our meters automatically detect the network frequencies, so beyond the sea or in Europe, it's automatically detecting or adjusting itself to the 50 or 60 hertz grid, so it can be automatically work everywhere in the world, let's say. Another very important aspect is it's a multi-utility hardware tool, let's say. So our meters can capable to collect the water, gas, heat, or whatever utility type we are talking about, informations from other meters. We are also developing sensors, temperature, humidity, carbon dioxide, air quality metering sensors, and these information also in real-time manner, such as other utility types as well, transmitted the minute level to our platform as well. We have controlling units and so on, and as you can see, we have, I mean, EnerDigit has a cloud-based platform where we are collecting all of our partners' data in real time. We are having availability in a basic level visualization and an advanced level visualization. What we are focusing, and we would highly appreciate in cooperating with such a call as well for predictive forecasting, predictive algorithm. In e-health projects, we made that and so on, but I don't waste all of our times with that. We also focusing on predictive maintenance topics and other solar farm related sensor kits development. So how we should more accurately predict the actual consumption and making intervention actions and so on. Next slide, please. Okay, as I mentioned.
Yes, so please come to an end.
Yes. Okay, as I mentioned.
Thank you.
Okay, and so we are in basically an advanced level. We are making the data analytics. And the last slide, please. So with the help of our solution, each of our customers can quite easily save 25–30% of its own consumption. Just a mere example, if we are all over as going house doctor or doctor, and just make that kind of comparison. If we are using a mere blood pressure, instead of that, we are offering an EKG Holter device, which is significantly gives more information, and it is 3–5 times cheaper than the already existing mere blood pressure. So the payback period is 1–2 months time frame in these days. So we are happy to cooperate in these kind of calls. If anyone has questions later on, of course, we are ready to answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Zoltan. Okay, then we have received some very interesting pitches. Thank you for that. And we're going to continue also with our living labs and test beds. But I think it would be nice also to have a 5-minute break. So it would be good if we're just meeting here again at 2:52. So just have a short break, and we're going to see us here again for the upcoming pitches. Thank you. Welcome back to our session. I hope you enjoyed this very long 5-minute break. As I promised beforehand, we're going to continue with our living labs and test beds. And we are going to start with Yanpeng Wu from IoT Microbit Living Lab.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
Hi. Hi.
Afternoon. My name is Yanpeng Wu. I come from Auburn University Chrome Center. Very glad to have this opportunity to introduce our IoT micro lab for our research activities, resource, and research directions. Hopefully, we can create some cooperation for this call. Next slide, please. This is our IoT micro lab. Actually, it's a living lab and can test and demonstrate residential microgrid. In this laboratory, we have a lot of energy supply, grid connection, and local generation and storage system. And this microgrid can operate in two modes. One is island mode, and one is grid connected mode. And we have already have several H1020 projects based on this lab. Next page, please. I'd like to give more specific information for the resource in this laboratory. In this laboratory, we equipped with a methanol fuel cell, which produce DC power, and also have a small wind turbine, and have a PV system, and a battery storage system. And inside, we have a heating system, and we have some power conversion system from AC to AC, AC to DC. About this, we have a lot of load. Just as a smart home, we have a full range of appliance and load, because this load are very easy to control and schedule. We deployed a lot of sensors and actuators in this lab, and create an IoT platform. So every data for the supply side, for this energy source, or for each load, we can monitor real-time data and long-term data. Currently, based on this platform, we have several research directions. Next page, please. Based on this platform, we mainly we have several research directions. One is for digital twin. We have two projects based on this lab, which are related to the digital twin. For the device level digital twin and the subsystem level digital twin. In a device level system, we will use AI algorithm to do the module tuning, to do the module enhancement. For the system digital twin, we create the digital representation of the physical system to real-time monitor and control the system. Also, we have created a blockchain technology. We create a Hyperledger network, blockchain network in our lab, and to do the real-time response, demand response, and the asset management. Also, we are research for the energy local transition energy with neighborhood. Also, we have some energy-aware service, which are based AI, because we have a lot of data in our IoT platform. We store the long-term data over 2 years for the local generation and local consumption. Next page, please. For this call, we are seeking cooperation as a partner for researching and co-creating new digital energy innovation or service. Also, we can contribute as a testbed for some new solution service validation. For the specific technology and experience, we can contribute mainly on our current research direction. One is for the digital twin-based innovation for energy solution, and blockchain-based service for energy interoperability, and data driving and AI-based energy forecasting and application. For the last pointer is IEC 61850. Also, we have experience for this automation, especially for the DER part application. We also can contribute knowledge and experience for this point. That's all from our side. If you have any question, feel free to contact us. You also can find our more detailed information on the EnerDigit website in the Living Lab partner part. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan-Peng.
Thank you.
And now we continue with the Cultura Living Lab with Daniel Schwab. Are you here? So if I saw him before, so he may be back later. So we then continue with Sabancı University. And here we have Ayça Arik. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. I think you're still muted.
Okay now?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Okay. Well, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity first, and thank you for this organization. So I'm here on behalf of the Sabancı University. My name is Ayça Arik. I'm a project specialist. I'd like to give some brief information about Sabancı University first. So it's established in 1996, and it's internationally recognized as one of the most innovative and innovative research universities in Turkey. It's been ranked among the top 500 universities in the world. And also we have so many EU-funded projects. We do, as in like Horizon 2020, Horizon Europe, EuroGID, Monet, Erasmus, IPA, 8, Urban Mobility, and more. But today I'd like to talk more about our campus, which we've transformed into a living lab testbed. Next slide, please. Okay. So as you can see, we have a large campus area that has educational areas and some advanced sized laboratories, dining buildings, social areas, lecture halls, residential buildings, and dorms, which allows us to test different groups of people and the different behaviors throughout the campus. We have around 5,000 students using campus daily, which we also see them as a community. And we also, when we're applying our projects, we like to get their feedback on usage of these new tested technologies as well. So we have currently 100 kilowatts of PV systems. We're installing new ones on top of our faculties now, and we will add more throughout the other projects within the year. We have a cogeneration plant, electric charging stations, which have been just renewed with the newest technology, fast charging. And we're going to be building more that would charge with the PVs on top, that would generate their own electricity from the renewable energies. And now we're currently building a microgrid testbed with the biggest energy distributor in Europe. So with this project, we plan to test out AC/DC smart energy management systems and some blockchain-based peer-to-peer energy exchange systems. And we want to introduce a campus coin, which can be used among students who use the, for example, electric scooters in the campus as a transportation mode. They will have some how to say benefits in the campus dining areas to introduce them more of to raise awareness actually. And so we will also see the data analytics of these and how it's of course how the energy consumption is going to be, and cybersecurity solutions. We will also introduce V2X technologies that will try out new communication technologies with the vehicles and the other systems. Next slide, please. Okay, so what we can offer as a university we offer our campus area as the pilot area. Also, we have researchers working on energy storing solutions, power systems modeling and simulation, smart mobility and logistics solutions, cybersecurity, ICT solutions, and impact analysis, both in economical and environmental aspects. Actually, these are not all of the things that we can offer, but within this context, I thought these were more important. But we also have researchers working on composite technologies, material sciences, nanotechnology, IC design, AI, machine learning, sensor technologies, transition, communication technologies, smart city solutions, and we have a gender center, which you know as an EU project, there Gender Equality Center, which is very important. So what we're looking for in partners is actually, now we have the academia side and more of the academic research. We are looking for always the industry partners, like large companies, public entities, maybe, and SMEs that can reach end users and actually help us build the demo sites. And then we usually look for them in power systems, energy storage technologies, mobility and logistics sectors, and ICT, and also vehicle to X technologies. I talk so fast, so I don't want to take up so much of your time, but thank you for listening to me. If you want to get in touch, please find my contact details on the first slide. Thank you.
Thank you, Aisha, also for sharing your information and your pitch. And now I'm trying to see if Daniel Schwab is with us so that he can present the Ketura Living Lab. So I see that he's still in the participants list. Daniel Schwab, are you available to pitch? Okay, then maybe that he has some technical problems or he's just away. So then, unfortunately, we need to continue without his pitch right now. Anyways, as I said before, we're going to share the slides, so you will also have a look on this Living Lab and what they're offering. And then again, you can also get in contact with them via our partner website. Okay, then we continue now with a quite interactive part. And we are going in group sessions, thematic group sessions, where you can find your potential project partner. So we will offer you 2 session rounds each. Yeah, well, now we are running a bit out of time, of around 10 minutes. Actually, I think it would make sense to just have 1 session so that you can have more time to interact among each other. So we will have just 1 session. I see Daniel is with us. Hi.
Sorry about that. I had to go take care of something. I'm back.
Okay, would you like to pitch very quickly your Living Lab then?
Thank you. Okay. Thanks so much. Great. So hi everybody. Great to meet you all. So Ketura Living Lab, it is a community in the south of Israel. If you can go to the next slide. Just a bit about the Living Lab. So our goal is to take this community of about 400 individual housing units with a common area, light commercial area that has been very involved in pioneering some of the renewable energy projects and technologies in Israel for the last 10 years or so. And so we like to take it to the next level and to support innovation in the space of microgrids and community energy systems. You know, anyone interested in testing systems such as peer-to-peer trading, dynamic pricing, transactive energy, obviously multiple renewable energy producers and consumers. We have the infrastructure, we have the people, we have the experience that is on the ground, and various tests and pilots are taking place simultaneously as we speak. Next slide. So the main members are BrightMerge, and BrightMerge is a data platform. We're a SaaS B2B platform. We've been in the renewable energy microgrid industry for the past 4 years or so, and we've developed a platform based on a significant amount of design partnerships with various companies and organizations. And then Arava Power, which is a independent power producer. So they have a strong knowledge and experience in developing renewable energy projects here in Israel, but also in the US. And so you would have access to expertise as well as the facilities in Ketura. And as I said, our specific focus on microgrid controllers, storage systems, and electric vehicle charging, which has become actually quite a significant part of our activities. So we'd be very interested in collaborating and having discussions with anyone interested to explore the use of our Living Lab. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel, for sharing your Living Lab. Now we continue with what I was introducing beforehand, our group sessions. So as we are running out of time a bit, we're going to have just one session round of, around 15 to 20 minutes. So we will meet here shortly before 3:30. And within this session, we'd like you to ask to give a short introduction by each participant of around 10 minutes each, but this also depends on how many people are in this group session. We cannot moderate all of these sessions. This is why we'd like you to organize yourself in these sessions. And it would be nice if you just introduce yourself by answering who am I, what am I looking for, and what is my project idea. And aim is also to get an exchange with the people who pitched today, but also with other people. So this is why we encourage you to exchange your contact details in the private chat or the general chat, depending on what you prefer. And the group sessions will not be recorded. So we have in total 6 group sessions with different thematical foci. The first one is on social aspects for proposals. The second one, ICT infrastructure. Third, energy infrastructure. The other one I just don't see because I'm sharing the slides. Sorry. So it's on cross-sector energy topics, the 5th one on market and communication, and the 6th one is further open topics you would like to discuss. I'm going to open the breakout session soon, and you can choose which one you would like you would like to join, and the breakout session is open right now. And also, if you have any questions or need a help how to get to the single sessions, we're here to help you out. We can assign you to other sessions, of course. Now, sorry, I was muted. So, thank you for coming back to the plenary, and I hope you had some great discussions in the group session. Our meeting or event comes to an end today, and I'm just sharing our slide, our contact slide again. So if you have any further questions, you can get in contact with us. And yeah, Lisa, would you like to say some last words before we're closing the meeting?
I would like to
Also,
thank for the
Frederick is available.
I would like to thank you for the presentations. That they were interesting introductions. I could have spent all afternoon listening to more, but we have a deadline. I think it was a nice interest in the breakout sessions. People were trying to find each other and pool together in a couple of bigger groups. I hope you found somebody to contact and go further into discussion with the networking and developing projects. Don't hesitate to get started. We hope to have an event in September, a week and a half before the actual call deadline, to answer practical questions for the application in case there are any issues. Are we going to fulfill the national requirements? Can you help us understand this question? So stay alert, and you might see an update and an invitation for such an event. And thank you for joining today.
Thank you. And then have a good afternoon.
Bye.
See you. Bye.
Bye.